Hey guys, it's Benjamin and welcome to another lesson here at the Guide Plus. So in this lesson we're going to talk about playstyles, which got introduced in FC24, and the impact on the gameplay is pretty huge and noticeable. So that's why we decided to give you our recommendations when it comes to playstyles and specific positions, because depending on the position, some playstyles will be more valuable and some others will be less valuable. And we're going to start this kind of lesson with the defense. So we're going to present you our rankings for those playstyles for the center back and also for the fullback position. And we decided to do this as a tier list. So as you can see, we have 6 different tiers. We are going to have the best tier, which is the S tier, which is want to have, and it's going down to the E tier, which is useless. And the idea is that this can also help you in case you are deciding between different players, because most often they will be having different play styles, and then you can decide which play style is actually worthwhile or really valuable on this player because you're going to use him in this kind of position. So this is the beginning, this is the introduction, and now let's start with the center back position. I already assigned the playstyles for the E and the D tier, and the reason is that if you're going to talk about every playstyle in detail, this would take ages, because we also want to show you some examples and also want to give you tips on how to use this playstyle on a specific position. And in case, for example, for the E tier, like these are playstyles which you're not going to use on the center back position, and that's why it's not really worth to talk about it. So for example, the goalkeeper playstyles doesn't make any sense, but also for example the finishing playstyles, you're not trying to finish on a center back, so it's not really worth to talk about it. And I hope that you already know the pictures and what this playstyle does. If this is not the case, I'm also going to link an explanation page which is given by EA, where they showcase and explain how every playstyle works. So check this out if you're unsure about it. I will also try to mention at least the name of the playstyle, but also we'll talk about what it impacts in the game. So briefly talking about the E tier, we have the scoring playstyles, and this is not something that you try to do with a center back. Yeah, you could argue that it's still a bonus to have, so it would be D tier, but actually you don't end up in any situations to use it. For example, the chip shot or the finesse shot, and also the power shot. If you have a lot of power shot spots with the center back, I would say that you might use your center back too much forward, and you should maybe think about it that it's too attacking wise how you position your center back in the attack. So this is not something which is going to benefit you at all, and this is the case for all those playstyles here. For example, Trickster. This is not something that you're going to use with your center back. Also Technical, which is going to help you with a controlled sprint. You're not going to use it with your center back. And then you also have Long Throw, where you can make a case, well, if your center back is able to do long throws, it's cool, but in case your center back is going to go for the throw-ins, he might be missing in the defense if you're going to lose the ball. So this is could actually be a disadvantage. And then we have the goalkeeper playstyles, which doesn't make any sense to have it on your center backs. Otherwise, you're just going to put your center back in goal. But, well, let's hope that's not going to happen. Then we have the pure bonus playstyles, and at first the dead ball. And this is a playstyle which I feel like is going to always be in the D tier, because yes, this is a playstyle that you want to have at least on 1 or 2 players in your team, but it's not the case that you would say, oh, on this position it's the most useful. So it's a bonus, I would say, on almost every position. Then we have incisive pass. So maybe you play like 3 through balls on your fullbacks with the center back, and this can be then helpful. The same for tiki-taka. I feel like the impact of this playstyle is just not huge enough to rank it any higher. Press proven, well, it can help to just maintain the ball in case the opponent is pressing you, but it's not something that you're actively looking out for when you're looking for a center back. And then we have Trivela. If you remember how we played FIFA 23 and when we switched side, we always used the outside of the foot to play those long balls to the other side. So now you could still do it, and I feel like this could be something which could be helpful, but it's super, super niche, and I don't feel like it's actually really worth it to consider. Then we have Relentless, and Stamina is not really not something of concern when it comes to the center back position, and that's the biggest bonus of this playstyle. And then Acrobatic. Obviously, this could help in some corner situations, for example, to score a goal, but very, very niche, not something to look out for. And now we come to the C tier. And here we're going to start with a playstyle which I actually had initially a little bit higher, but then I understand, well, this is just for the attack, because defensively this doesn't really matter, and it's just for in the case that you try to score a goal. Then it's super helpful because you will have a lot of center backs that can for corners, when you have a corner, can help you to score a goal. So that's why I would say it's situational, because only in attack, but it doesn't help defensively, and this is the main purpose for the center backs, and that's why it's only in the C tier. As I said, initially I would have ranked it higher, and if in case you have a center back with this playstyle, then in case you have also another playstyle that I'm going to talk later on, later about it, then this would be the center back to use to try to convert those corners. But we will talk about it later. Then we have a defensive playstyle in the C tier, which is the slide tackle. And the problem with the slide tackle is I played like 2 center backs who had it on plus. And by the way, everything that we're going to say here, it doesn't matter as much what we explain if you have the normal playstyle or the plus playstyle. Like the same principles apply. It's just the case for the plus playstyle, you will notice it even more. So when we talk about slide tackle, the problem with this playstyle is that it's still a hit or miss. I had 2 center backs with this playstyle in plus, and there were still so many situations where it didn't help at all that I had it in the plus version. It was still a foul, I still missed my slide tackles, and sometimes when I was connecting to the ball, I didn't really saw a really benefit of having this playstyle. So that's why I feel like in terms of the defensive playstyles, it's the worst one on your center backs, and it's really disappointing. I would also make the case it needs a buff because it's just too weak. It doesn't help as much. And then we have another passing playstyle in the C tier, which is the pink pass. And the thing with this playstyle is from the center back position, you're going to play ground passes forward to your midfield, to the central midfielders, or to your fullbacks. You do this quite often, and this can help you in the build up. So situational, it can be helpful, but it's not something that you actively trying to look out when it comes to your center backs. But if you have it, then you can play better passes to your fullbacks and your midfielders. Very nice to have. Now we come already to the B tier, which is good. And here we have 2 playstyles. First of all, we have quickstep. And this is something, well, this makes your player run faster when you're using sprint. This is nice, but I think there isn't any center back who has this as a playstyle. Maybe the only exceptions are fullbacks, which also can play on the center back position. There might be a chance that a center back then does have this playstyle, but probably no center back actually has it. But if a center back would have it, it would be really helpful. But well, we could also rank it higher, but if the playstyle is not really existent on the center back position, well, I think it doesn't make any sense to rank it in the A tier. But obviously, it's very nice to have on the center back. Then another nice playstyle on the center back is the long ball pass. And the thing is, here we're talking about how the game is currently played. A lot of your opponents will play on high def. They will try to pressure you. And then the long ball pass is super helpful to switch sides. I have it on some center backs that I played, and I noticed that the switch of sides then is faster, and then you play to the fullback or to the winger on the other side when the opponent is pressing you, because they will overload this one side, and there's a lot of room on the other side, and this playstyle can help you a lot. So if you have a center back with this playstyle, you should try to make use of this by actually switching always to this side, and also maybe get the fullback on the side to be on neutral, so that he pushes or she pushes up forward, so you get in more situations to actually play those long balls also attackingly or offensively. So this is something that I noticed, and I really enjoy my center backs having this playstyle. It's very good, and I was also making a case for having it in the A tier, but it ended up in the B tier. So now we're coming to the more interesting part, the A tier, which is great, but not the best ones. So in the A tier, we have at last the block playstyle. And here the case for me is that I don't notice it as much when I compare players who have the playstyle or who don't have the playstyle. Because then sometimes I had blocks and was like, wow, that's impressive. But then I noticed the player didn't have the block playstyle. But in case you have it, obviously it makes sense to use those players to block those attempts of the opponent, especially outside the box or inside the box. Just try to stay in front of the opponent and then increase the chance of a block just by positioning, and then in that case it can actually help to have this playstyle. Next up, we have the intercept playstyle, and this is a playstyle which increases your chance of intercepting passes. And if you have players like center backs with this playstyle, you can be more aggressive when it comes to trying to intercept those passes to the side, especially when it comes to cutbacks, for example. Cutbacks are very part of the meta. It can help to have the intercept playstyle, but also I had like one player who had the playstyle plus, and I had to say, like, from what I've seen, I felt like there were a lot of interceptions, which I would also think a normal player without the playstyle would also have made the interception. But in case you have a player with this playstyle, you can then be more aggressive, moving out, trying to intercept those passes. And then as the next playstyle, we have the aerial playstyle. And I already talked about it a little bit when I was talking about the power header, that the aerial playstyle, in comparison to the power header, which is only for the attack, this is also for the defense. So that's why we rank it higher, because the impact of it is not only reduced to corners, for example, when you have a corner, but also defending crosses, defending corners of the opponent. This is a playstyle which is very nice. So in case, for example, the opponent has a corner, try to pick your player who has the, or like the center back who has the aerial playstyle, try to get him in the area where you think the opponent is going to bring in the corner, and then you have a better chance of defending the corner. So this is very useful, and I would also make the case, or like would try to convince you to have at least one center back or at least one player in your team who's tall and also has the area playstyle, because then, and also in combination with the power header, this can lead to a lot of goals. And I always try to have at least one, most often center back, who has the aerial playstyle or area playstyle plus, and also the power header, and this then can lead to a lot of goals. I already presented you my corner technique. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I'm also going to link it here in this lesson as well. And now we come to the next playstyle, and it's the jockey playstyle. So the jockey playstyle, obviously jockey, which is L2 LT, is very fundamental when it comes to defending. It helps you to position better. For me, I don't had a lot of players who actually have it, so for me it's very hard to tell the difference. But the theory is that if you have players with a jockey playstyle, you benefit by using jockey more often, because then you're just faster in the transitioning from jockey to regular sprint, or from sprint into jockey. You can move around faster. So if you have players, center backs with this playstyle, you should use jockey more often, because then you get more out of the positioning with this center back. But for me, as I said, like, I don't notice it as much. I just start to experience it because I have my first center back with Virgil van Dijk to actually have jockey. But as of now, I didn't really need it as much. So now we have two playstyles remaining. And now the question is one of them or two of them in the S tier? And which one is it? So we have one more in the A tier, and it's the bruiser playstyle. This is a playstyle which you get, or which you play out when you go for the shoulder challenges, for the seal outs. Especially if you play on advanced defending, you can just use the bruiser playstyle. Every time when you press the X or the A button, you go for this physical approach of winning the ball, you're going to benefit from the bruiser playstyle. So if in case you play on advanced defending, and we have a total or complete course about it, which explains how to do it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And in case you do that, you're going to benefit quite a lot of the bruiser playstyle. So that's why I rank it as high, because I use the X or the A button quite often in the defense, and then it helps because then you're going to win more physical duels. So if you have a center back with a bruiser playstyle, you can just go more for those physical duels. You can use your body of the center back just more efficiently, and that's why I really like this playstyle, because I also play advanced defending. And obviously it can help you to resolve some situations, especially if the opponent is going for the cutback, just to get your body in and win the ball by that. And at last, we have the raccoon, the anticipate playstyle, which I think, or we think, is the best one. This helps you with standing tackles, and When you go for a standing tackle, you have a higher chance of winning the ball and then also controlling the ball. So if you have a player with the anticipate, you should be more proactive and decisive, especially proactive when it comes to standing tackles. So using the circle or the B button, you were going to win more often the ball by going for a tackle, for a standing tackle when you have this playstyle. So in case you have a player, center back with this playstyle, you should be more proactive going for the tackle, be more brave, be more decisive, and you're just going to see how nice this playstyle is. We think it's the best one. So this is the tier list for the center back. Next up, we have the fullbacks. The fullback position in modern football and also in FC is more demanding, I would say, and also more flexible. And this also shows here in the playstyles because we have more playstyles which are not in the D or not in the E tier. Just briefly go over the E tier. We have like also finishing playstyles or like the goalkeeper playstyles and just things that you usually don't have any effect on the fullback position. And then pure bonus. Once again, we have the dead ball playstyle. I already talked about it. Power shot, you don't get in a lot of finishing spots similar to the finesse shot, but it's more often or more likely in comparison to the center back. Flair could help with the heel passes in very, very niche spots. So that's why it's D tier here in contrast to the center back. Press proven. It helps with the left stick dribbling, with the jog dribbling a little bit. So that's why, since you are going to might end up with a fullback, also in case the opponent is pressing you up high, it could help to be just on the wing in your own half. Then if you have press proven to get out of this situation, then to distribute the ball. And trickster, for example, yeah, well, this is just fancy, and some fancy stuff that you might be able to use. Aerial could help defensively and also attacking wise if you have a fullback with this playstyle. So now we're going to talk about the more interesting stuff, the C tier, the situational, and we're going to start with a long throw. So this is more useful on the fullback than on the center back because here it's not as harsh if you're going to lose the ball and the fullback won't be missing as much. So this is a better position to have it on, but potentially not the most important one if you're going to select your fullback. So that's why it's only in the C tier. Then we have the Trivela playstyle. And here you can maybe also use, similar to what I explained with the center backs, if you're going to switch sides, it could be helpful to have the Trivela playstyle to curve it or to play it with the outside of the foot. And also, very rarely, you could end up in a position to go for the Trivela shot on goal because you might be on the edge of the box. So also something, if you have a fullback with this playstyle, that you could play for, that you could really surprise your opponent. Very situational. Then tiki-taka, where is it? Here is it, the playstyle. Well, it helps with the just one-touch passes in general, and with a fullback, it will be more likely that you get in spots where this is going to be helpful. Slide tackles, well, I already talked about slide tackles. In running duels on the wing, it could help to prevent the opponent from breaking through. So if you have like a fullback with this playstyle, something that you could try for, but maybe you also have a little bit of bad luck and you end up with a red card. So be cautious about it. Jockey, I already talked about it as something for the center back, which I didn't notice that much. For the center back, we had it in the A tier. For the fullback, I don't feel like it's as high in the priority because, yeah, it's something, yeah, it can help, but it's not as important in comparison to having it on the center back, and that's why it's only in the C tier. And then we have the block playstyle. And, well, obviously nice to have also in the defending aspect, but the fullback won't end up in as many blocking situations in comparison to the center back, and that's why it's only in the C tier. For the fullback, there are also like a lot of playstyles which are in the attacking part, which are more important in comparison to the defensive playstyle block, for example. But it can also help when you think about that the opponent is going for finesse shots at the edge of the box or outside of the foot shots from the edge of the box, then you might end up with the fullback in this position. So this could potentially be a case to also have it in the B tier. I just noticed that. And then we have Relentless on C. I was just debating because also you could make a case to have it on the B tier. So that's the tough part when it comes to the fullback. It's like there's so many things that the fullback should be able to do. The thing is, I talked about that the center back position is the position where you don't have any stamina concerns. It's totally different for the fullbacks, because if you use them also in the attack, they will going to cover a lot of distance during the match, and stamina is most definitely something. And actually, I'm going to bring it up to the B tier, because I feel like it's much more important than just in comparison to the other ones here. So that's why I'm going to bring it up to the B tier. It can help you with the second man press, which you're going to use quite often on the fullback position. So overall, it makes sense to have it on the B tier, I have to say. We're transitioning to the B tier, and that's why, by the way, how you can make use of the Relentless. Using the second man press, you can use it longer, and also obviously, as I said, like this whole position is just more demanding on the stamina, and that's why Relentless is quite valuable. Similar to what we explained for the center back, like ping pass can help you to just build up your play forward to the winger, to the striker, to the central midfielder, maybe also potentially to the center back. So ping pass increases the speed of your ground passes, and this is something which is very nice. So in case you have it, as I said, like going for the rhythm passes also up forward is something that you could play for. And then we have up next technical dribbling. So this is something which, like technical controlled sprint, is very, very good, very strong in the game. And if you have it, you could actually create a threat on the wing, going through on the byline, and then all of a sudden you can go for the cutback. And it was enabled with a technical. So it's not up high in the priority, but it can be super useful if you have it. I think I haven't played a fullback who actually has it, but in theory, it would be really good. Similar is it for the long ball pass. I already talked about switching sides is super important in FC24, and in that case, the fullback would also benefit quite a lot from this playstyle. Switching side from one fullback to the other one, or from one fullback to the winger, is something that you're going to do quite often. I haven't played a fullback who has it, but I feel like it would be really, really, really good to have on your fullback. So that's why it's in the B tier. And then we have the incisive pass. I feel like it's not as important as the long ball, but incisive pass, you're going to play quite some incisive like through balls on your fullback to the winger, for example. You're going to play that, I would say, like at least 3 times per match, and that's why this could be a playstyle which could help you quite a lot. And the latest evolution also adds this to the fullback, which underlines this theory that it's actually something that you would like to have on your fullbacks, to play those through balls to your wingers. So would be good to have. And then we also have the intercept playstyle. I already mentioned that I don't think it's the most important defensive playstyle, and that's why it's only here in the B tier as well, higher than block and jockey, because there are some interception or like intercept situations with your fullbacks, for example, when the opponent is playing through balls or something like this, or playing from the outside to the inside to his strikers, then it could be nice to have it on the fullback as well. And now we're coming already to the A tier. 5 playstyles are remaining. And now we have the anticipate playstyle, which was the best for the center back, is only in the A tier here for the fullbacks. Obviously, it's great to have better standing tackles, so it has to be up high, but it's not the most important one when it comes to the fullback position. As I said, like similar to the center back position, if you have it, you can go more proactively for standing tackles. Bruiser is also a defensive playstyle, which we think is in the A tier. And if you think about in what kind of situations you're going to end up with your fullback, and what I explained about the bruiser and how this is going to help you with the seal-outs, the shoulder challenges, in those running duels, you can benefit quite a lot of having bruiser. So that's why I feel like it's also very, very valuable on the fullback. As I said, running duel against the winger of the opponent, he tries to go through, and then you have the bruiser playstyle. This is going to increase your chance of winning the duel with a physical challenge, with a shoulder challenge. Very nice to have. So Now 3 remaining, and the question is which of these is going to be still in the A tier and who is going to be in the S tier. So rapid is something which was not relevant for the center back, so this is the first time that I'm talking about it. This helps you to just dribble fast with the ball and also with knock-ons. So on the wing, on the fullback position, you're going to end up from time to time in situations when you just want to rush through on the wing. So that's why it's very valuable, but not as valuable in comparison to the other 2 here. But you can, if you have a fullback with this, you can actually use those knock-ons really decisively and dedicatedly to just go through on the wing. It can be really nice and really surprising as well. And now we have the 2 playstats in the S tier, and we have Quickstep, which is in the S tier. In comparison to the Rapid, they are very similar, but the Quickstep is also helping you defensively. And that's why we think it's more valuable on the fullback to have a Quickstep, because then you're also running back faster. And this is only really for the attack. So that's why we rank Quickstep higher than Rapid here. And obviously, if you have Quickstep, just run around on the wing and you're fast. That's cool to have, I would say. And here is my favorite playstyle on the fullback position. It's the whip pass. It got nerfed because it was too good, but still, I played a fullback Baja for quite some time, and it was just amazing what you were able to pull off, and you're still able to pull off with this playstyle. It's insane what kind of crosses you can play. If you have a fullback who has this playstyle in Plus, or maybe also just in the regular version, I would try to get this fullback on balanced and not on stayback, because this is a constant threat. Then if this fullback is joining your attack and you get in a spot to cross, that you can score some easy goals. So this is something that I would actively try to go for. And in case when I was playing Baja, she was my fullback who I had on balance, because I wanted her to be part of the attack on a regular basis, and she was contributing so many great crosses in my whole games, in my whole attack, and that's why I have this in the S tier. So these are the playstats, or the ranking that we have for, in that case, for the fullback. I already talked about the center back. This is it for this lesson. Next up, we have the midfield with the CDM, CM, and CAM. So this is it from my side. I hope this was educational and helpful. Leave us some feedback either in the comment section and also on the Discord if you want. This is a new format. This is something that we want to do, and you can leave us some feedback if you think this is actually helpful. So we're going to prioritize it in our next few weeks or days to publish the next lessons for midfield and attack. This is it from my side. Keep a clean sheet. I'm out.